So we're all trying to figure out ways to pass the time, as many of us are in quarantine and practicing social distancing and isolation. Coach Derek Stingley apparently getting into TikTok videos. Saw it on the Instagram, man. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Matt? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome.
I didn't know you was going to start with that.
How can I? Man, look, at this point in time when most people are going stir crazy, 16 days in the house, and I pop on Instagram and I see you doing TikTok videos? How can I start with anything else?
My daughter put me up to that, but I told her, I said, if we're going to do something, we're going to do something from the 80s that I know.
Wait, I had it on mute. What song was it?
It was My Prerogative by Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown. Okay, are you more My Prerogative or Humping Around Bobby Brown?
I'm more My Prerogative.
Right.
My Prerogative, he danced a lot more. I think Humping Around, he was past the whole New Edition phase. It was really just about him and just him in the spotlight. But My Prerogative, he just left New Edition, so he was still wanting to be that dancer and that entertainer.
Do you blame Bobby Brown for Whitney?
You know, man, shoot. After watching that little movie, it's hard to say who was worse for each other.
That's true.
I mean, it could have been either one of them, but I don't think they were good for each other.
That's true, man.
To be honest.
Sad. Two talented people, though. That's for sure.
No doubt.
Hey, man, let me. I want to lean into your experience as a coach, and I know when we texted yesterday, having spent time in China coaching the AFL there, I want some perspective on this. So let me just start with: all right, you're a coach. Everything comes to a screeching halt, especially at a time right now where sort of the off-season activities are gearing up. What's your biggest concern of what you miss out on during this time?
Well, naturally, the camaraderie of you being with your team, and not just the players, but the coaches, and getting prepared for things or working on the things that you need to work on that could go wrong, but you don't know that they can go wrong because no one is around. Everything is just idle and it's stopped, and you need that time around to where you can bounce things off one another, or you can correct something with a player, or player have an issue. You got the face-to-face time, which you don't have anymore, and that's tough when as a coach when you don't have that control, you totally feel out of control.
You forgive me if I have the year wrong, but I think 2016 was the year that you started in China, correct? 2016?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I actually started in China before then. It was like the latter part of 2014, and then I spent time over there in 2015 just preparing. Okay. And then 2016 was actually the season.
Okay, that was the first season. So either way, we're talking between 6 years of experience there working in and around professional football. So you hear about the coronavirus pandemic, how it's spreading in Wuhan. What's your first thought knowing that societally and culturally that nation?
Well, I can tell you this. Like when I first got over there, believe it or not, the first place that I went to was Wuhan in 2015 was where I was stationed over there for like almost about a week and a half. I went there back in 2014, we just went to Beijing for 2 days, but then we flew back. But when I was over there for a long period of time, it was actually Wuhan. But what I really noticed most was that, everybody was wearing masks at the time. And this is like, I know the SARS pandemic was years before, but they were still being overly cautious about, I guess, not spreading whatever, and then just knowing, the hotel we were at like a Marriott, so it was a nice 5-star type hotel, but they were constantly cleaning and spraying, and I would look out of the window and you would see people on the street, with the street sprayers and things like that. Not to say that I really paid attention to it, just now with what's happening in the world, I remember those things, just looking back saying, oh my God, they were already like on top of it or trying not to let it get any worse when it really wasn't nothing going on. But like I said, the people, most of them were wearing masks.
That's crazy.
So it kind of freaked me out. Like, okay, do I need to wear a mask? The people that I'm wearing, I'm like, do we need to put that on? They was like, well, some of that is just for pollution, and some people just freak out. But regardless, they were still protecting themselves, and I guess they didn't want to go back to where they once were.
Do you think that there is and I remember also in 2014 was the oh heck, there was a pandemic in 2014. I can't remember.
The H1N, the flu.
It wasn't the flu. It was it was a disease that started in Africa and it actually made its way to the States as well. And now I'm blanking right now. But it was Ebola. There was an Ebola outbreak in 2014. Did that make it? Was that at the same time in China?
I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about it in China then. So
no. Was there ever a concern though amid things like this? You mentioned H1N1, SARS, about gathering in large areas and stadiums.
No, because believe it or not, China, the population is just crazy,
right.
And I mean, they never warned us about anything. You just saw the people who were from there, how cautious they were being with just the mask, but they didn't sit us down and say, okay, listen, you guys got to make sure that y'all are spaced this far apart, or you can't be in large groups together, because the stadiums were jam packed, and wherever we went in a large city, it was jam-packed. Like we were in Beijing, of course, in Shanghai and Shenzhen. But when you talk about the smaller cities like Shindao or Guangzhou City or Dalian, where we were at, those are like smaller farm-type cities. I mean, they have some city vibe to it, but it's mostly like farmland. That was different. It was like they didn't even have the mask on. It was almost like take a step back in time when we went to those smaller cities.
Derek Stingley Sr. is with us. So, as a coach, right, in either college or professional rank, both with regards to football, are missing an important part of their season, right? If it's in the NFL, it's OTAs, it's mini camps, all that. With college, it's spring football. Which could more easily readjust? Let's assume, hypothetically, best case, like end of May, June, things are back on target. Maybe college football and NFL training camps start on time in late July, early August. Who misses the most by missing this time?
I think the NFL misses the most because they're losing out on the evaluation period of whether it's the draftees or even free agents. With the install. The NFL is those offensive defensive coordinators. They're mad scientists. So the things that they got going on in their playbook is just way on another level. But with college, the turnover isn't that big, or it's not as much. I mean, you do get 25 kids that come in, but you don't expect for those 25 to play immediately. So they would get an opportunity to learn a system or be behind somebody and kind of figure it out. But when you're talking NFL, you're talking salaries and livelihoods on the line, and they're expecting these people to come in now and be ready, including the coaches. Just think about people like Joe Brady and that Carolina staff. They have to implement their new schemes and what they got going on, and they can't even have a face-to-face with any of their players, and they can't evaluate the new talent that's coming in. And they're the new kids considering on their block, but then you got how many guys, maybe 30, 40 guys who's on their roster right now that still got to understand this system that they're in now. So I think the NFL suffers the most just because of the evaluation period, to be honest.
Would you have any concerns over the increased potential for injury without having a proper off-season program?
I mean, it would be my concern. It would be. I really would be concerned about it because, it's a system, and they set things up to be a certain way because of, the gruelingness of having a season that they have to go through. And then to try to rush all that, to try to get those players acclimated so fast, I mean, they're going to need some time. And who's to say when this is all going to be over, whether it's late May, early June, however, how much more time you need in between? I would say like maybe 2 to 3 months, maybe a season starting in October or something like that,
So you wouldn't think, so absent an off-season program, even if training camp could start on time in the NFL at the end of July, and let's say college, fall camp could begin for first week in August as it usually is.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think that wouldn't be enough time for a September start to the season?
Matt, it could be, but But it's like you have to look and see how things were done before. I mean, they were done that way for a reason, and now all of a sudden you're saying we're not going to do this, but we're okay with it starting at this time because this is enough time for us to get going. Well, guess what? You had a spring, you had a 4-quarter program, you had the off-season lifting and things like that, but you couldn't do it now because kids can't go and work out at their facilities. Talking college football. I'm out training Derek on our park district, just running and trying to keep him conditioned. But I can't get to no weights. I can't make sure that his body is protected by staying in shape with weights. Now, NFL guys, maybe they have the money and they may have home gyms and things like that to where they can stay in some type of shape, but you're still missing out on all that. And all of that is necessary. And I think if you just say, okay, just because we got enough time to start the season, you still got to worry about all those other things like, soft tissue injuries. Is their body prepared mentally? Are they ready to go? And the acclimation part of just wearing equipment again and just getting back into shape. I think all that matters. And I think they're going to need more time. I don't think if they say the coast is clear and everybody can get going in July or August for college players, I think that they need at least 2 months, 2.5 months to get ready.
Derek Stingley Sr. is our guest. A couple more minutes here. I'll come back to this present in a second, but seeing what's happening in China as they've moved, and obviously I know you're not a medical expert, so I'm not asking you to predict a medical thing like that, but just from the standpoint of how things have, but you do have the perspective of having lived there and worked there. As you see things progressing there, however closely you follow it, is there reason to believe that the way that nation is progressing, the United States might mirror that?
You know what, Matt? I still talk to my players that I coached. So we text back and forth through an app called WeChat, and every player that was on my team, and they all spread out throughout the country of China, they say, Coach, we're fine. Things are getting back to normal. And this was like last week. I'm texting these guys just to check back with them. And they were more concerned about what we're going through. It's like, Coach, are you good? Is everybody all right with you? We're hearing so much about America. And I said, well, yeah, we're going through it now. I said, hopefully, we can get to the point where we can get past it. But they were like, Coach, we're good. Things are getting back to normal. So you're talking now, what is this, the latter part of March, early April? They were at the height of theirs when late January.
Right.
So, maybe we're 2.5 months,
couple months
out of being out of the water or something like that.
Well, it would be interesting if that is the timeline. So let me then ask you, let's hypothetically say, and when you look at what medical experts project, some are projecting maybe like a mid-April, late April peak and then a taper. We'll see how long that takes, right? I mean, no, we'd all be guessing. Everybody's guess is you make a best guess with the evidence that you have. But if you have a tapering there, when would you feel comfortable as a coach, as a father of a player? When would you feel comfortable saying, all right, maybe not even a date, but what would have to be happening to where you're like, okay, I'm comfortable proceeding now?
I don't know. I think the powers that be, they need to reassure us a little bit better and make us all feel comfortable in some type of way to where, I don't know if they can play with the numbers, if they're giving us the truth with the numbers, or if they give us the okay. And in my opinion, I really think that's going to be around, June-ish, somewhere up in there, where everything is probably getting to the point where you can probably start hanging out and having groups of 50 or more or something like that. And, if the curve is truly flattened like what they're trying to do with a lot of these stay-at-home deals with certain states. So, if that's what they're going to give us, the okay, and we're all just saying, we're following the masses and it's okay, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I think for the young kids, I just think they need to really pay more attention to what's going on and not thinking that they're invincible, and where we all can get back to life, which is normal for us. Just stay home. Just stay home.
Amen to that, man. We're all looking to get back to normal just as quickly as we can. In the meantime, keep pumping out those TikTok videos, man. Like, I'll be on the lookout for him.
Hey, you know what cabin fever could do to you, and it got the best of them.
We're all doing it. Nothing wrong with it, man. We'll all be on TikTok. I'm already on TikTok. We'll all be there sooner or later. He's on Twitter at dsting24. Y'all give him a follow, Coach Derek Stingley. Appreciate the time as always, sir. Best to you and your family through all this, man.
Thanks, Matt. Same to you guys. Stay safe.